Hello, welcome to Fiberchats. My name is Irina. I'm the host of Fiberchats. If you're new to my channel, love having you here. Please consider subscribing. And if you're a returning visitor, welcome. Today, my guest is Juan Ramon Alcantar. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So you on Instagram as Juan's Knitting Garage.
Yes.
And also on YouTube, right?
Yes, on both. Yes.
Right.
Because then it gets too confusing and then I forget passwords. So I just use one for everything.
That's smart.
Yeah.
So how did you decide on that name?
Well, very easy because I work out of my garage. When we moved into here, we used to have another studio somewhere else. And when we moved to this house, the garage was big enough. And it's like the first thing that we say, the studio goes into the garage, you know, so it was just easy. Like, okay, I work on my garage, so it's Juan's Knitting Garage.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, right?
So if somebody came to your studio, what would they find there? What's in the garage?
What's in the garage? Well, right now it's a big mess because like, I don't know if you know, we're remodeling the house, so we had to move things from the house into the garage. But what are they gonna find? It's a lot of machines, knitting machines, different gauges. We have four different gauges: fine, standard, mid gauge, and bulky gauge. So that's what they're gonna find. A lot of samples, a lot of swatches, a lot of yarn. That's a big mess.
So let's go back to like your knitting story. So you started hand knitting first, right?
No, I started machine knitting first.
Oh, really?
I started machine knitting first. My mom told me how to knit because I was about 7, 8 years old is when my mom started teaching me. And everything started because, you know, I was a kid. I want money for everything every 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes, like, Mom, can I have money for this? Mom, can I have money for that? I want this, I want that. And my mom always said, no, you want money, you have to earn it. She taught us from very early age that nobody's gonna hand you anything, you know, so you will have to earn it. So she would say, you can knit, you can finish, you can do whatever you want. Because my mom used to have a home business, just like me, exactly the same. But instead of the garage, it was in one of the bedrooms.
Right.
So that's how I started machine knitting first. Yes.
So she was teaching you, like you were helping her first, or did she teach you like how to independently work on the machine?
Just independent how to do it. She will tell me, okay, do so many rows, do this, do that. She will teach me how to do, because she will do a lot of baby clothes. So they were easy to do, you know, little pair of pants, little jackets, little sleeves. So I will do that, the sleeves or the pants or something little, you know. And sometimes by the time that, you know, I finished the piece, I forgot what I want the money for. So I didn't get but I learned. I used to teach my mom. I used to say, you know, you run a sweatshop because you make me work and I didn't get paid. And she's like, but I feed you. Like, well, yeah, that too.
Do you remember the first piece that you like actually independently sold?
Sold by machine made. Yes, it was gold lame tank top. That was the very first piece that I ever sold that I did myself, and I created the pattern, I did everything. Yeah, it was a gold lame tank top, very cheap yarn that I think I found on Michael's, I think, you know, so very scratchy. But the girl liked it, so she bought it, and it was, I think I didn't even get enough money to pay for the yarn. I just sold it, you know. So yeah, that's the very first piece that I ever sold.
So at what point did you feel comfortable to charge what you're supposed to charge for your pieces? Like, what was that process?
It took a long time. It did take a long time because when I moved to California in 1993, I was doing hair. You know, I was a hairdresser for a couple of years, but I never really liked it. So I started doing knitting for, actually for the company that I'm associated now. I was just doing the knitting, and that was for about 4 years. And 1998, that's when I became partner, and that's when Lois is her name. She trusted me and she said, I think you're ready to create a collection. So it was 1998. So it took me about between 4 and 6 years.
Right.
Yes.
So I saw your sketches, like when you create your fashion patterns, sort of like you sketch it first, you make a drawing.
Yes.
When did you start doing that? Like, did you used to doodle as a kid? Like, when did you learn how to draw like that?
I learned when I started doing the knitting. I used to draw a lot, but just something, whatever, little flowers, little this. I used to like to drawing, but fashion sketching is when I started working in the industry, because sometimes you have an idea, but to do it, it takes a long time. Right. Even on the machine, it takes a long time to come out, do the piece that you want. So it's like, okay, this is what I want to create. So you start drawing. My drawings are not the greatest,
I don't know, I disagree. I really like that, actually.
I mean, I can draw really well, but believe me, to do one sketch, it will take me a week. So it's not like, no. You have to do it other ways. So yeah, that's when I start working on the collections and all of that. I start drawing, so I can show the idea of what I was trying to do and what I want to do, so it's like, okay, so I want to do this with, I don't know, like you can see on the back, gradings or shawls and things like that. Yes.
So do you find that machine knitting allows you like more flexibility in knitting? Like, why machine knitting at the end of the day?
Why machine knitting? Because I do it as a business, and hand knitting, it will take me a little bit longer, much longer. We all know that it takes a long time to knit a piece, and on the machine, it's a little bit. I'm not gonna say it's 100% faster. No, it still takes time, but it's much faster. If I can create a sample, a piece in 5 hours instead of 5 days. So yeah, so that's why, and when I became into the company, she already had the hand looming. It's because this industry is called the hand looming, because basically you're doing everything by hand. Right. Even though that the machine is doing the rows, you're still doing the transferring, the kneading, the decreasing, the increasing, the bind off, everything is done by hand. Yeah, the machine won't do it.
So when you started, right, and in comparison to like the first few things you knitted as your designs to the designs that are coming up now, like how did you change as a designer?
How did I change as a designer? That's a very interesting, good question. I don't really know. It's something that you just do it and it comes natural, and it changed from day to day, So sometimes I always say this is a very corny thing, but I follow the same thing, that I let the yarn do the job. If the yarn is very busy and it has a lot of texture and all of that, you don't need cables, you don't need lace, you don't need anything of that. You just do plain, and the yarn does all the interesting designs and everything. So that's okay.
So when you design something, do you have complete freedom of design? Like, do you feel like whatever comes to your head is going onto that machine?
That depends. If I'm creating for ourselves, yes. If I'm creating for somebody else, because I do as a freelance too. I do design as a freelance for 6 different companies, which is crazy. So even though that I have a full range, I can do whatever I want, I have to still stick to their DNA of their company. Because what I mean is, like, if you're line, your company is very feminine and very dainty and delicate, well, I can do heavy ribs and heavy boxy cuts. It has to be, according to their line. Otherwise, they will not be able to sell it because it's not their line. It's not their aesthetics. But if I'm doing for ourselves, yes, I can do whatever I want and as many times as I want and all of that. Yeah.
Do you think you work with 6 different companies for that reason, to like give yourself more room to be creative?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm very, very lucky, knock on wood, that the companies we've been working with them for about 12 years now, some of them. And they trust me. They know what I can create and what I cannot create. And, I'm not going to say that I'm the best. No, I'm not. Far from, far from. There's people that are many, many, much, much better than me. But they trust me that I can come up with something that they can use into their line. Yeah, they give me free range. Like I say, they still give me free range. Okay, do this. They just tell me, okay, we need so many pieces for the collection. You come up with them.
Right.
So I come up and probably I will design 20 and they will use 3, but still.
So when did you learn how to hand knit?
When I learned how to hand knit when I was 12. When I was 12, that's when I learned how to knit. I used to, in Mexico, I'm from Mexico. Mexico, I went to all boys school, all boys. And my teacher, she was a nun. She will knit while she was doing the class, not while she was writing on the board or anything. No, she would not. But when we were reading or doing exams or something, she will knit. And the way that on that time they will see us by our last name. So it will be A, B, C, D, F, whatever. So my desk was right across in front of her. So she will be knitting and I will be like, okay, how is she doing it? What is she doing? So I will pay attention to what she do it. And I was always fascinated. How can, moving the needles, she will create this piece. And I was like, okay, how did she do it? So I went home and I will try to recreate what she was doing. Sometimes it works. Sometimes I will come up something completely different because, I didn't pay enough attention or I wasn't doing it right or things like that. But I had an advantage because I already came from machine knitting, right, which is not exactly the same. I'm not going to say it's the same, but it's, in a way, it's similar. Because if you put two stitches in one needle, you're decreasing, right? And by hand, if you put 2 stitches through one loop, you're decreasing.
Right.
So that's how I learned. So I will come home and I will recreate what she was doing. And yeah.
Mom wasn't the hand knitter, right? Did she know how to hand knit?
My mom, she knew how to hand knit, like, knit and purl, very simple stitches, nothing sophisticated, nothing, because she didn't really like it. She liked the machine, excuse me, and she loved crochet. She will crochet a lot.
So you also crochet, right?
I crochet, I can embroider, I cross stitch, I macrame, everything related fabric, I do. It's because, like I say, I had always liked fiber. I had always liked fiber, somehow or another.
Is there like yarn that you wouldn't buy, like that you just would avoid together?
No, I mean, yes and no. I will not buy recycled cotton, and not because it's recycled, but because it works. On the machine, it works. So you will need a piece, and by the end of the day, your seam will be on the middle of your stomach instead of your side of the ribs. Right. So that's the only reason that I don't like recycled cotton. That's the only one. I work with every single fabric that there is out there, Do
you have like an absolute favorite?
Yes. Well, our company is well known for cashmere. We specialize in cashmere. I can, because I've been working so long with them, I can tell you exactly what cashmere is gonna do and how it's gonna react to different temperatures, and how can you felt it and what to do, what not to felt it, because it will felt.
Right.
Not as easy as wool, not as easy as wool, but it will felt.
So when you design something now, do you have, like when you design for yourself, not for the company, right? Do you have still commercial idea in mind? Do you like sort of go by what's gonna sell, or do you go by like just the most extravagant thought that popped into your head just as an artist? Like where do you have this balance between your artistic integrity and artistic freedom and commercial success?
It's a very, how can I say it? Difficult
Blurry.
balance. Yeah, because it's like a very fine line, because if you do very creative, very avant-garde, very crazy ideas, yeah, it will sell, but you were gonna sell very limited editions, very probably you will sell 3 or 4 pieces, but doing it commercially, that it's gonna sell a lot, because we don't do a lot of trendy, we don't do a lot of gimmick stuff. We don't do it because our pieces they're high end. It sounds kind of arrogant, but our pieces are high end. But they're pieces that you will keep on your wardrobe for many, many years. Right. So it's a piece that you can dress up or dress down, or make it fun or make it sophisticated, whatever you want to. And when you do gimmicks or trendy, you can wear it a couple of seasons, and after that it's like, oh, I've seen that sweater so many things, so it's out of style. So yeah, so it's a very, very thin line between that. I always thinking of what is gonna sell and how the people are gonna react to it. Something that if you invest, I don't know, $300, $400, $500 on a piece, you can take advantage of those $300, $500, right? So yeah, that's how I always focusing on what people are gonna like and what's going on and what's the trend and what's yes.
So when it comes to your own fashion, what do you do?
My own? It's funny. I don't own a sweater. I don't have a sweater. I had never done a sweater for myself. I have a couple of sweaters that, because they're like samples, that either there's nothing wrong with them, but either they come a little too big for the sample size, or they change something after it was done, and the sample is just there, and either I keep them or they give it to me. But like for myself, like, oh, I'm gonna do this for myself, I have never done one. I have never done one. It's crazy, huh?
I mean, it's interesting. So when you do hand knitting, what happens to those knits? Do you also sell them?
Yes, I have. I work with different yarn stores and yarn companies that I do either their samples or I create lines for them as well. Yeah, there is three yarn stores. One is on Elcroft, one of my best friends, Nitik. She is one of my best friends, and she trusts me very well, because she's like, okay, I'm sending you this yarn, do something for me. And she doesn't even tell me I want this. She's like, do something for me. So that's what I do. And then there is one on Brentwood, Brentwood, California. And yeah, she's the same, but she's a little bit different. She tells me what she wants. She's like, okay, I want a cardigan with a cable. And it doesn't matter what kind of cable, she just tells me what she wants. Yes. But again, before I do it, I present her a sketch. Like, okay, this is what I'm planning. This is what I'm thinking. What do you think? And she say, yes, no, okay, but the cable is a little too big, or whatever. Yeah.
Is there any particular technique that you can create in hand knitting that hard or impossible to recreate with machine knitting?
Yes, many. There's many. Twist reefs or twist stitches, they're impossible to do on the machine. I mean, it can be done, but it's gonna take you 3 days to do 2 rows,
Right.
because you will have to do stitch
By
by
hand.
stitch, grab it, twist it, put it back, grab it, twist it, put it back. So it will be something easier to do
By hand.
by hand. By hand, it will be much easier, you know. Instead of taking you 3 days to do a row, it's gonna take you 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's one. Knit and purse. Knit and purse are a little bit different. You can create them, yes, you can create them, but again, it takes a little bit longer because you have to reform the stitches if you don't have a river. The river is a supplement to the machine that will create the knit and purse, but it will create easier like a ribs, you know, 2x2, 3x3, 5x5,
Right.
any kind of ribs. Yeah, but like knit 2 per 2 or see the stitch, it will take forever, right?
How
Yeah.
about like brioche, or like I saw you doing a video where you can sort of do something similar
Brioche.
to brioche?
Yes, I mean the machine can do brioche in one color really easy. You know, like on the machine is called fisherman reef, or on the industry we call it half cardigan or full cardigan, and it's exactly the same. Knit 1 row below and knit and purl. Yes, it will create it really, really easy on the machine, but it will be only 1 color. But if you want 2 colors, it takes long. It can be done, yes, it can be done, but it takes time because you have to do 1 row at a time. So in 1 color. So you will need with 1 color across, grab the carriage, put it on the other side again, put the other color and go across again.
Right.
Basically almost the same as a hand knitting, because in
Right.
hand
So
knitting,
it's the
you're
same
just
idea.
knitting and pull the needle and do the other color. Basically the same, but I think on by hand, it's a little bit faster.
Right. I was interviewing some of the Shetlanders, like Hazel Tyndall, and I was interviewing Jeanette Budge, and they were telling me that in the 60s and 1960s, their mothers would knit the yoke of a sweater in Fair Isle, and then somebody else would do the rest of the body on the machine. So the whole, like the body of the sweater, the sleeves of the sweater were machine knitted, and their mothers were like having basically like an assembly line of they would knit the Fair Isle yoke, and then they would put them together. So
Yes,
they would stitch the neckline and the
the cuffs and
all
the
the
rib.
right. Do you ever combine the machine knitting with hand knitting yourself?
Yes, we have. Yes, something to do something like that, you know, that you want a joke or there is the piece is too big for the machine. Like, you know, the machine has a limit of 114 stitches, the bulky. The standard for a lace and sock and fingering yarn, it has 200 stitches. There are machines that they have their extended beds, but you still limit. You know, so you're still limited. By hand, you can put 3,000 stitches on a cable and you're okay. Yeah, I have done machine and hand knit together, yes. Especially when you're doing like stockinette, it's so much easier to do it on the machine because
Right.
stockinette is boring. You know, by hand is really boring. I don't care how much you enjoy hand knitting, stockinette is boring.
Right. Have you ever combined embroidery with knitting?
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, we had a company a couple of years ago that we will do a lot of embroidering with silk organza. We'll shred the organza, and with that, we will do big and things like that.
Right.
Yes, I have done that. Yes.
Do you have any design that you've done that you sort of wish you haven't? Like that you look back and you're like, okay, what was I thinking? Like ever any regrets?
Yes. There was one piece that we did many years ago, and it was a backless top,
Mhm.
but we used the wrong yarn that everything showed. I mean, everything showed.
Right.
There was no way that to hide it, and we put it out, and well, we did get a couple of orders, and then after, when we saw the booklet and all of that, it's like, what was I thinking? Who was my market? I mean, who I was trying to sell this to? Yes. I mean, yeah, no, yeah. There is sometimes that you do pieces that they're good ideas on paper, completely wrong on real life.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
on the opposite side of that, is there like any design that you're particularly proud of?
Oh yes, there is so many. Yes. There is a big designer now. Um, I don't know if I can say it. His name is Rick Owens. Um, we did pieces for him that they were amazing. Like, they are like, my God, I can't believe that I did that. So those are some pieces that we are very, very proud of. There are some pieces that we have created for movies, because we work a lot with the movie industry as well. And it is very proud when you see it on the big screen, like, oh, I did that. Oh, and I hate doing this. But it's still very proud moments.
Do
Yes.
you ever like meet somebody on the street who wears your stuff? Like, have you ever run into somebody and see that they're wearing something you made?
Yes, I have seen them. Yes, I can never say, oh, I made that, or anything. I will not approach or anything like that. No, but I have seen them. Yes, because our mailing list is 485 stores. So there is a point that you will run into somebody that you will see one piece, especially in California. In California, we have on Los Angeles by itself, we have about 45 stores. So there is a chance that you will run into, once. Yeah. And
Right.
I'm not going to say it's very, very often. No, probably I had seen it 3 or 4 times on the 20 years that I've been knitting.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, but it's fun.
So what are you working on now? Like, what's in the works?
What's in the works? Right now, we're developing a whole collection for bikini line. Everything is needed. I don't know, you can see the red
Right.
thing right there. Yes. We're working on them with them. It's a bikini line. Everything is needed with a viscose and lycra, a pain, real pain to work with, especially the lycra, because the lycra, if you go a little too fast on the machine, it will break. So, and if it breaks, that piece is not good anymore, because
Right.
lycra has to be across, the lycra has to be all across the thing. I'm working on that. I'm working on a collection of cashmere pullovers. Yes. And that's it. A lot of technical design. Yes, a lot of technical designs for 3 companies. So, which technical designs, you know what it is. It's making sure that the pieces fit right, that the stitches are okay, that the specs are what they're supposed to be. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
How did you
That's
even learn that? Like, how did you become an expert in that?
just practice. Just practice, because you make a sweater, you put it on a dress form, and yeah, it looks great because the dress form doesn't move. You put it on a body, and either it's too tight here, too loose there, too wide here, too wide. So yeah, just practicing and, try and error,
Right.
and yes,
So I
yes,
saw you doing some of the presentations of how you do it and like people watching. Is that something like, is there a big market of machine knitters out there? Like, do you do classes? Do you do tutorials? Like,
Yes, there is a market. Yes, there is a market. Actually, lately the hand looming, the domestic knitting machine are coming back. It's coming back very, very strong, because a lot of people, most people, especially from the pandemic now,
right.
people are tired of Chinese products, or throw away garments. So
Right.
they want something, the fast fashion, exactly. They want something more sustainable, something that they can, use over and over and over and it still looks good, right? And so yeah, it is coming back. And I do the seminars. Yes, there's so many clubs out there that they like to, because what I do is completely different of what they're used to. There is people, there's need a lot of people that they do machine knit. They are hobby knitters.
Right.
So they do one piece and very simple, very classic style. And what I do, even though that is classic, it still has more industrial finish and more the fully fashioned decreases, the more well piece, things like that. So yeah, there is a market. There is a big market out there. Yes.
So you also have YouTube channel. What was the idea of you starting that YouTube channel?
Well, it's really bad channel. It's a really bad channel. That's why I haven't done anything because I've been noticing it's like, what was I thinking? I want to create because of the seminars. The seminars is like, oh, I remember you talking about something on the seminar on San Francisco, and I want to do it, but I don't remember. So it's like, okay, I'll do a little video and put it on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can watch it. That's why I started it. And as much as I would like to continue, because I do want to continue and doing it a little bit better, I don't really have that much time. I really don't have that much time, as you can see. Yeah.
How do you decide, like, I mean, there is commercial side to it. There is something you must do. You have deadline, you have orders, you have to do it. How do you decide on something for pleasure for yourself as a hobby, like the little hand knitting for yourself or a little embroidery for yourself? How do you find time for that?
Mm, I mean, I do little sacks or things like that, that I call that my therapy knitting from knitting, it's
I love
like,
that actually.
yeah, it's like, okay, I've been knitting all day long in the machines and I have all these orders and I have all these pieces that they need to be done. I need just a time for myself. So I do a little sack or a little hat or something that it doesn't, that is not gonna, I'm not gonna say not gonna sell or anything. It's just for me to relax.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
How big is your yarn stash? Is there like
I don't
enough
have a
space in
yarn.
that garage?
Well, when it's production time, yeah, there is no space. But personal yarn stuff, stash, I don't have.
Really?
I don't have. I don't stash yarn because it's like, why? I'm not gonna use it. So, usually when, like I say, when it's production, yes, sometimes there is 500 kilos of yarn in here, because I mean, it's not like I'm gonna need it myself. I have 7 knitters that they do the production with me.
Right.
Um, so yeah, when there's production time, yeah, there is a lot of yarn. But my personal stash, I don't have.
So I also
Like
saw that you like to cook and you have your own different mole recipes and you share some of the like Mexican cuisine recipes. Is that something you do often? Is that like part of everyday life or is it occasional
yeah,
treat?
it's at least 3 or 4 times a week when I cook. That's another thing. It's my therapy, because sometimes I do get really, really stressed because even though that is machine, believe me, the machines are very temperamental.
Right.
Sometimes you're being working with the machine perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden it starts dropping the stitches, dropping the pieces, the yarn is breaking, this is that. So you get the stress. So the little knitting by hand, sacks, little things like that. And cooking is my therapy. It's like, I love to cook. I love to cook. I love to create. I love to host dinner parties. I love to have people over and all of that. So it's something that I enjoy, and it's my therapy as well. It's something that I will it just relaxes me. And it's funny because, my partner, sometimes tries to come and help me, and he's like, no, leave me alone, go away. My kitchen, my kitchen is my kitchen. Nobody touches with my pots and pans and things like that. So it's like, it's my therapy. Yes, I love to cook. Yes,
Do you
I
have a
love.
signature
I love to.
dish?
Everybody loves my mole because I made it from scratch. I made
Right.
it from scratch. It was 35 ingredients and 2 days to cook. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to try it one day. So,
Yes,
I
definitely.
I hope once the COVID is over, we'll get to meet at some stitches, like
Yes,
some
definitely.
festival or
Yeah.
something,
Oh yeah. It's funny because I had never been a yarn festival.
Really. You should
I had
try
never
that.
been a
It's
one.
fun.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, I mean, I was when I don't know if you remember the show TNNA,
Mhm.
the needles and yarn, the National Needles Association, something like that. I used to do that. I used to go a couple of times, not all the time, but I used to go. And it's fun, But
Right.
like Rena back or stitches or all of those, I have never been on one
I think
because
it's fun
it's
just to see, like, because it's like suddenly you see 70,000 people who like to do the same thing you do.
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. I really think it's fun. Yeah, so like I said, the TNNA was fun, because it was just yarn and store, mostly yarn companies. Yes, but
Right.
it is fun. Yes.
Well, thank you so very much for being my
No,
guest today. I loved having you over and I enjoyed our chat.
thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank you so
taking time from
much.
your busy
This is a
schedule.
lot of fun. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry that it was so crazy
No, don't worry
and
about it.
calling people's calling and all of that. So thank you very much for having me. It was really good, really nice.
Thank you.